Oh,
Well, something else sells.
now, yeah.
They have done that.
Where's this now?
Crazy, at the corner of Westlake Road and Ashton Place.
Oh, okay.
There's a red house
Yep.
right at the corner there. Phew, got squashed.
No, not
No
yet.
kidding.
Okay, class.
All right, maybe we'll get started. Thanks for coming. I think we've got everybody who was planning on coming. I know Joyce is not gonna be here, so. Today we're looking, at signs, gateway signs, and if you have any updates on the digital sign or billboards. And then that's it for our topic, and there was a town board meeting last night, so. And then no Doug is definitely get 9:30, so. And Oksana, I'll let you talk about some of the stuff with gateway signs, but we're gonna start with, updates from Doug since he's got a lead.
Okay, you guys ready? The CIC formed the Gateway Signage Committee about a year ago, and we met twice, and then COVID hit. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we started meeting again this year, and in order to move things along, we started meeting twice per month, the first and third Wednesday at 11 a.m. So some of the things that we have already accomplished, we prioritize the gateway sign placements. We discussed design images we would like to see on the sign. We also discussed maybe having, different designs for different signs. And then we scrapped that. We're just going to have one sign to be placed everywhere that we prioritized. We emailed information to several sign vendors and received 3 preliminary quotes just for our own information because we had no clue how much they would cost, what they would be made of, and the installation, was that included, and all of that. So some of the vendors that we received quotes from were Sign Language, GUP Signs, Historic Sign Restoration. And actually, tomorrow, we are meeting with the representative from Sign Language at 11 o'clock in the courtroom. And then our meeting in September 8th, we have already scheduled with the DOT and Jim Fletcher, and a representative from DOT is going to attend and go over our sign placements and let us know, if the regulations from New York State, if we can place the signs and exactly where. So as you can see on the on your monitor, Sign Language actually did a little sign for us and also showed us the village of Caledonia, because we asked, if we can do any other, forms of signs, whether, the rectangular signs that you usually see everywhere. And then they showed us, this oval. And can you scroll up?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other Caledonia signs, and this is something that they are in the process of working on this project with Caledonia. And Sarah, can you go up? Yeah, okay. No, the middle sign, yeah. So this one was from, I think, Historic Sign Restoration. And they did this for the city of Canandaigua, so they just wanted, for us to see. Did we have something from GUP, Sarah? I don't think they sent us anything. So we looked on the 3 websites for sign language, GUP signs, and historic sign restorations to see, what we liked and what we didn't like. And we decided to invite the sign language people because we really liked the sign that they, did just to show us what can be done. And, we don't have the verbiage down yet, what we would like to see, because like the historic town of Canandaigua, we're really not, even though we are historic, but we haven't done anything to really protect our historic properties yet. And established 1815, I think it's 1791, but we would like to see the town of Canandaigua welcomes you. So I think that's about it. Sal, do you have anything else to add?
No, just Oksana, thanks. It's great information. I'm looking forward to meeting the representative tomorrow, because maybe we
Yes.
can get a clearer sense of the timing. What has to
Yes.
be done, materials, things like that. I know we had initially been talking about next year getting it done. I'm still being hopeful that maybe we can get something in the ground this year. I don't know, we'll see. But no, I think that was really comprehensive. Thanks. It was good.
Yeah. Okay.
What did they?
Any
estimate the
questions?
cost? Yeah, the cost. You said they gave you some estimates. What's ballpark?
Yeah. So basically, do you have Sarah, the estimate? Do you have the estimate from that? Okay, here it is. So GUP, historic signs and sign language. But what GUP did, we only asked for quotes on 4 signs. GUP gave us an estimate on 8 signs, so we're not really comparing apples to apples here. And sign language, which I have spoken to, they told me that they would actually just whatever our lowest cost is, that they would match it. So that's a conversation, for tomorrow with the vendor when he comes to meet with us. And we really liked the sign language designs, and that's why we invited him first. We didn't really care for the historic restoration or the GUP signs. So anyway,
Visited the website
So
for
they're in-
sign language, and they had lots of different shapes and colors and options for how you might make a sign way beyond what they showed us. So we know they can do anything we ask them to do, but they also seemed more upfront with ideas for us. So, which is also important because we don't have a design that we made. We just have ideas. So we think they can come up with, something for us.
okay. That's all of the information that at this time that I can give you.
Could I throw out a question?
Yeah.
Oksana, can you hear me?
Yes.
The verbiage, the town of Canandaigua welcomes you. Now that we're trying to foster cooperation, inclusivity between the city and the town, why don't we just say Canandaigua welcomes you?
Because the point was to make sure people knew they were entering the town.
People don't give a damn.
But we do.
No, well, that's selfish, but it doesn't make any
It's true.
difference, yeah. You know,
That's what I was tasked to do, but
just a thought, if we're trying to be one Canandaigua,
yeah.
somebody's gonna say, who the hell's the town? And I thought we were in the city and we're damn near in the city, but where is it? Does it
really
matter to have a boundary?
It doesn't matter if we want to be one Canandaigua. You have to remember your audience. If you're presenting something to your audience, you have to remember who the audience is. The primary audience is people who don't live in
Yeah,
Canandaigua.
And they don't much give a damn.
And they don't give a damn. You're exactly right. I agree with you. It should just be Canandaigua welcomes you.
Does it matter that all the surrounding municipalities call it out? Like the city of Canandaigua signs say city of
We're one in a
Canandaigua.
million and we should approach it like that.
Yeah, I think we should blend, especially with Uptown there, you know, they're so blended with the city and the town, and you're just gonna confuse people or possibly
Oh, there's
confuse
a
them.
note on the Uptown one too. The group did prioritize, because in the beginning of this group, we looked at every single entry point on a, minor road or major road into the town, and they picked 5 that they wanted to work on first. And as you leave the city of Canandaigua heading north on Main Street, that spot was one of the priorities, but we know that the LDC is working with Bergman on some wayfinding signage for, the city and Uptown, and depending on what that might look like, they're gonna hold off, the Gateway Signs Group is gonna hold off on a sign in that location so that in case, colors and designs would clash, they didn't want, they just wanna wait. And maybe either not do one or do one that would look nice with the wayfinding signs. So there's really only 4 they're working on right now. Although I like.
And not only that,
Because I drive it every day.
all the gateway signage for the city says City of Canandaigua. I don't see, yeah, they do, City of Canandaigua. So I don't see any issue with us saying Town of Canandaigua. I mean, all we have right now are those little markers that say, I don't know how big they are, like maybe 12 inches, those metal markers. And they say Town of Canandaigua, zoning codes in effect, or whatever they say,
I think the farm one sign also says Town of Canandaigua.
It does, yeah.
There actually might be, Son, I know you're meeting with somebody from DOT. I kind of recall years ago, I had a meeting with DOT when I was with Brian Kolb about gateway signage. And I remember very clearly that they were very specific on the wording that's even required on the signs. They may actually require the municipality to be identified specifically. So it's something just to double check with them when you're meeting with them. I know that there were very specific regulations from DOT.
Never mind.
We'll see. I have it written
Well-
down as a note.
I just,
Yeah.
again.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oksana, I guess my other question is, so we have money in the 21 budget for this. So is there any way that you guys could advance a contract this year so that we could use some of that money or at least encumber that? But we can't
Yes.
do it if you don't have a contract in place.
Yes. Well, that's why we're meeting with the person from sign language, and we just need more information from them, and then we can continue. And we also need information from the DOT. So I would say maybe at the end of September or early October, we can make a decision.
So then a contract, in order for me to execute a contract, that obviously has to be approved by the town board. So I could try to
Right,
get that on October town board meeting so that we can execute that contract, so that we can encumber that money, even though the expense may happen, the actual purchasing, by the time they order them or build them and all that stuff, it may be 22. But we can encumber the money if we don't have a contract in place in this. town.
Okay. All right, well, we will work towards that and let you know. Actually, we can let you know after tomorrow's meeting.
Oksana, what is the material used for the legs on that sign?
For the legs,
Yeah.
Oh. Hold on a second. Sarah, do we have the sign language,
It's up there.
the invoice?
Yeah, we want something that's gonna last.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
So the one, just for example, the one out front of town hall, I think is pressure treated lumber with a plastic sleeve. And
Okay, Sarah, I've got it. So let me read it to you. One single-sided V-carved 18-pound sign foam with 23-karat gold leaf lettering, aluminum support bars, set of 2 6-inch vinyl-clad primed painted posts with painted tape tops. And yeah, that's about it, what they told us. And this material, this 18-pound sign foam, is what they use for all of their signs, because they actually have experienced that when they use the cedar or some other wood, it doesn't last as long. It cracks, and they have problems with it. And these signs, they have an 8-year warranty.
Right.
And they also sent us a quote for maintenance. So every year, if we sign an agreement with them, they come and they maintain the signs so that they look new again. And that's like, I think it said $100 per sign. So,
Sounds cheap.
we thought that was a good deal.
So here it says, yeah, vinyl coated pine, if well maintained and sealed, it can last over 50 years. I think that's good longevity.
Foam is forever.
Karen, I couldn't hear you.
It says, I just looked it up, vinyl coated pine, if it's well maintained, can last for over 50 years. Because I think the concern would be how long the post lasts.
most
Yeah.
of the companies that we worked with for quotes for the town hall sign offered the same kind of post, so I think it's standard.
The one thing we had
Well-
with the town hall sign out was the wind. We had a bad windstorm, a microburst one day that actually broke the sign and then flipped it up in the air. It was the same thing. It's that foam board, but and then it broke in half and crashing down. And it was the whole 24 gold leaf and everything else also. But I mean, that's a rarity, right? We can't ever stop Mother Nature. That was a microburst.
And I
There's
was-
nothing we're gonna do.
I was gonna ask them about that tomorrow too, has it changed, is the foam better than it used to be, what
I
was their
think they
thoughts on
put
that?
some kind of reinforcement in the foam.
And there might be, we'll
But even that
ask,
sign was almost 25 years old, so,
yeah.
well, got some longevity out of it.
Yeah, anything that lasts 25 years, you can't pinch it.
Well, I think for the amount of time that we've been working on this, that we have a lot of information, that we can compare and take a look at, with other companies. Yeah, that's,
If the
I
sign's
feel good about
damaged,
it.
what happens?
We do have, I think there was a warranty, so
Like if someone runs into it,
Oh,
Well, that would be
that would be
insurance.
insurance.
Okay, so our insurance.
But if it just fails, there's a warranty period. Oksana, what did you say the warranty was?
She said,
8 years?
Yeah,
8 years, 8 years.
So that's pretty good. We didn't get that with the sign out front of town hall. That was only 2-year warranty.
Are they involved with the digital sign? So,
No.
that's you.
tell me.
Well, as I said, okay.
The microphones pick up everything. So-
Go ahead, Oksana.
Okay. As I said, they're going to tomorrow, they're bringing samples, of the materials and, excuse me, and we can discuss, more with them.
So does anyone else have any questions about or suggestions? You know,
Or
what we
what
already
you
talked
want us
about?
to bring up or?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear. Is this something for me?
No,
No.
thank you, Oksana, for giving the overview.
Okay,
No one has.
all
any
right.
questions.
It's good.
I have no idea.
Impressed on how adept we've become on all this
Swirl them out.
electronic stuff. Sarah, while they're screwing around with that. I saw Ray Henry the other day, and he kind of assumed, he assumed that he'd been dropped because he's no longer his historian. And I said, he's, I think we're expecting it, so we might want to
I'll reach
reinforce that
out.
with
He
him.
gets the invites, but I'll reach out.
Okay.
Okay, okay, that's it for our gateway signs. Doug, do you want to update us on anything that may have changed with the,
Karen, is there anything you'd like to
Digital
update on?
signs?
Oh, with digital signs?
Yeah. I
There's,
don't think anything
I'm happy to
changed,
answer
right?
any questions. Anybody have any questions about digital signs?
Did we sign whatever agreement it was?
We're very close and with the town board will likely be taking action next month at the September board meeting to settle the lawsuit and also to authorize the digital sign.
Okay. Do you have a copy of that agreement with you by any chance?
I don't have it with me.
Because I had made a couple suggestions on the contract, but I don't know what the final version was.
In the contract? On the-
Well, in the resolution to amend the code
Mhm.
and the conversion ratio, I had a suggestion.
It's 8 seconds.
8 seconds.
Pardon?
It's
8 seconds. There was 6 in there. I
It was
believe.
6 in that. but I got you.
Okay, I have a question here. In conversion ratio, where we were talking about going from regular sign to a digital or electronic sign, they were asking for at least 1 square foot pre-existing, where I suggested it was no more than 1 square foot.
Well, so it's very, very specific. The agreement is very specific in that the sign on 332 would be a maximum, and this isn't the law, this is the agreement. They're different. They're 2 different separate documents. So the one on 332 would be a maximum of 22 feet high. The sign itself would be 12 feet by 23 feet. The sign on 5 and 20 would be the one in front of Big Lots, would be a maximum of 25 feet tall, and it would be the same size with maximum height of 25 feet. And then so obviously, so there's 4 currently billboards in the town of Canandaigua, and this would be 2 digital one-sided signs. One replacing the 2 in front of Big Lots, the one on Route 21 would be eliminated, and the one on 332 would be replaced. So, it would look, I know you guys online are really gonna be able to see this, and this isn't the most up-to-date image, but it would look something like this.
Yeah, we've all seen pictures of it. I also had a suggestion or thought on, while we're talking about just compensation, but we contract didn't specify what just compensation was.
Yes, the federal government defines what just compensation is when it involves a state or federally funded road, which is all State Route 21, State Route 5 and 20, and State Route 332. So they define it. So the agreement actually spells that out more between the two parties.
Okay.
Involved more so than the local law.
Just
So I know
figured
there's
there'd
a
be
couple of
another
things.
war over what the hell just compensation was, but if it's
There
in
would be,
statute.
if the town at some point in the time in the future ordered removal of the 2 new signs, then yes, there would be definitely lawsuits.
And there didn't seem
So-
anything about indemnification.
Correct. Because there isn't. And that's because
Can't
the
squeeze
town, yeah, the town is responsible. That's because the federal law, and so keep in mind, this was
Okay, if you've
This
already,
was all because the town of Canandaigua passed a law in the early 2000s, I believe it was. Yeah, and so a federal judge has ruled that the law was unconstitutional. And that it was not able to be enforceable, right? And so that's because there's a federal law that stipulates if a highway receives federal funding, which State Route 5 and 20, 332 and 21 all do, that the federal rules apply, and not the local laws.
our town attorney dropped the ball there.
Yes, without doubt. The law was not, I think, from what I understand, there was quite a debate about that law when it was done, but it's not enforceable.
Carol Maui to pay your legal expenses.
Actually, we're very fortunate. Our insurance company has been handling a lot of that. So.
Never mind.
Anyway. Oksana, were you gonna ask something about that? I'm sorry. Run here in a second.
Well, Doug,
Yes.
you know my opinion on the digital sign. I'm really concerned. I mean, have everyone, the town board and the CIC members, seen samples of what this sign would look like?
Yes, the town
And
board.
is that,
Yeah, the town board is well aware of that. The town board has been discussing that. The town board is the one making the decision on that. It's, that completely, is ultimately, something that they're agreeing to, with the entity involved with the lawsuit.
so can they still decide that they don't want the digital sign and leave the signs, the billboards the way they are?
So the town board has debated that, and the town board has given direction on what they're going to do. And the town board has given the direction that we're going to move forward with the 2 digital billboards.
Okay.
But the town board has been very, very involved in all that. Right, Gary?
Okay.
I guess.
So wait in the future.
As I said to Gary last night, your choice is yes or no. Heck.
I didn't hear that.
All right, any other questions on that? Okay.
Okay, can I make a couple of updates? One is, there was a discussion about Parks and Rec having a report for the town board. And I'm saying this to the two people who were there, three people who were there. They were looking at me and Adeline when they said this. And my feeling is that it should either come from the chairperson of the Parks and Rec Committee, or it should come from Lindsay, who is Parks and Rec representative in the town. So I just want to let you know that that was my feeling.
No, I completely understand. I thought it was probably inappropriate the way that that comment was made to you, and I'm sorry that that was directed at you. The chairperson is responsible from each committee for providing the report, so it would be up to them. Staff often provides reports as part of the town manager's report, including the occupancy ratings and all those types of things, which we recently have begun doing, but it's really up to the chairperson to provide some sort of report if they choose to do that. So
I mean, it really took me by surprise because there are many other committees that don't have reports for the town board. Yes.
Well, I think Mark used to provide something, right, in the past.
I think he still does occasionally, depending on what's going on.
And he's been on vacation, so
But the other thing is those meetings are obviously all open to the public. They're all recorded. Anybody can watch those meetings at any time. There's transcripts of those. I mean, all of that
And the
information.
Parks Committee is pretty good with their minutes. They get loaded to the website.
they
or
are.
Parks Committee's
Yeah,
page.
I've seen that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know some of the other committees, like the ordinance committee, when they do a report, or when, I don't know, what Eric used to do is, he would just put the minutes from the previous 2 meetings on the town board agenda as the ordinance committee's report. If you aren't wanted to do that, that might be the easiest thing.
I'm going to shoot him an email today.
Because those are
let him
already
know
available, you
What
know?
happened.
Mm.
But yeah, it was kind of strange being singled out. I'm printed
What's
The other thing is the affordable housing issue, which created quite a conversation with the town board. Oh, then they did pass they did approve the MRB proposal. The issue is, and I plan on talking to Doug about it, is how we're going to solicit help from MRB, the process for doing that, and determining what the help is that we need from MRB. So, yeah. And the other thing that happened regarding that was one particular board member with, I think, some support from another, recommended that a town employee have some training in the affordable housing issue. And after the meeting was over, I recommended Shauna, which just makes sense, Shauna. And I'm not thinking, that you should go to school for the next 2 years of your life about it, but I think you might find it interesting.
Well,
And I think you know something about it.
yeah, and I'm gonna obviously talk to Doug about that conversation, and that's really all I have to say right now about that.
This is a long-term project.
They have a concern about having the knowledge within the town employees, and I can understand that, because people like us who sit on committees, we come and go, and we die off because most of us are old.
Jeez.
That's very enlightening.
That's a good.
Wow. It's like, so, what, I think it's prudent to have, if you're going to form a committee like affordable housing, which is a new subject, compelling subject, gather as much information as you can, but ensure that it stays within the town. And my mind is not your mind, and my notes are not really readable by anyone else except me. So that's one reason why I really pushed for the MRB proposal, to have some help and have something that is legitimate and on paper, and that can be stored and other people can read about it. But I think it's prudent to have someone from the town actively educated and at least in the
Somebody like Chris, I know, is fully aware of the new building codes and insulation and heating.
Well,
and
that would make sense
roofing,
too,
crap
yeah.
like that. You know, he's acutely aware of it because he has to enforce it.
Yes.
But the one thing we also want to take in mind is that, you know, you don't want to shoulder too much onto some of these employees so they can't do their regular responsibilities properly, you know.
And I agree, and I don't know how much time Shauna or Chris spend on their jobs and if they have time for more information, but certainly it's pretty much information only and
Continual education.
it's a, yeah, so it would, don't you get credit for continuing ed? No? Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Well, I
about that.
think for some of the employees who have like certifications and licenses, yes.
And some of the board members are required to get that. I mean, like the
Yeah,
planning,
planning
the
board,
zoning and so
zoning
on and so forth.
One of the things that concerned me about this was the presentation about the Uptown project. And they very, so of course, it was after I had spoke up about the MRV in the first village of the floor. So they stressed the fact that these $175,000 homes on concrete slabs are going to be affordable, which in our area, that is an affordable house for a family of three, 175,000, go figure. However, that's the limit of affordability. So they're also saying, well, we're going to charge lot rent of approximately $500. Well, I know personally that the only place you can get lot rent for a mobile home for $500 is in Wayne County, because that's what I'm paying mobile home lot rent. And I searched all over for cheaper lot rents. It's not there. Average lot rent in Ontario County is $850 to $1,200. So you're telling me you're going to put a prefabricated home on a cement slab and charge lot rent for $500? It's going to be at least $1,000, at least $1,000, which adds another $12,000 a year to a family who's buying an affordable home.
Buying a house on land they don't own.
On land they don't own.
It's scary. I don't know
I mean,
what that turns into in resale values.
That's how a manufactured community works.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm not against the project. The project was really interesting and really compelling and just fits into Uptown. I am against calling it affordable because it is not affordable.
Well, it'll be interesting because, I mean, everybody comes out with figures that how much they could build a house for.
Mhm.
And I mean, I saw an article in the Saturday paper, their Democratic Chronicle several months ago out, I think it was Iowa, where they had the prisoners building houses and they figured they could build them for 140,000. By the time they got done, it was 190,000 and they were using, prisoners.
Use the slave labor essentially.
Well,
So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it'd be nice if they could build them for that. But like you said, the lot rent and things like that. then
There's a lot of things about affordability. That's the thing that, don't preach it if you're not going to obtain it. And they did. They focused on affordability for those.
I think when we get back to housing in our committee, and we've talked about it a little bit, and I've only sat in one meeting. It's that spectrum.
Yes.
It's not static,
No, it's not.
right? So that is like ever changing. And it depends on who, I feel like it's like a sliding, scale of who you're talking about.
Right, and at least two, if not every single person in that affordable housing group, we had someone from the Geneva Housing Authority come and speak last time. There's a woman from Pathstone who comes every time, and every time she comes, she stresses, please don't forget about the people at the bottom of that spectrum.
Absolutely.
And those people are gonna be renters.
Well, they're involved in it out there, Capstone.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are, yes.
she, every time it's just a reminder that, yeah, $175,000 is not affordable for a huge chunk of people,
So, including Ontario County.
And the thing about it is that Capstone, the project they're doing on Gorham Street, it'd be interesting to see what those rents are, because they put a lot of money into that place up there.
Probably had lots of subsidies too, I'm guessing. Do you have any
I
idea?
wouldn't know. No, I don't.
You know, to convert an old, gotta be a toxic wasteland. If anybody was ever in the Bliss plant when it was operating, I talk about nasty chemicals. So they must have gotten some kind of subsidy.
We use that, the building now that's office, space
Across
there.
the street.
No, when you go into the factory 243, right on the right there, those are
Okay.
office spaces. We use that for storage, and I'm telling you, our guys would come back and shower afterwards. They would come back and shower. That's how
It
bad
was
it was.
nasty.
Yeah.
So kudos to whoever
I
was
think
able
it's
to
an,
fix that up.
it's an amazing place. I'd live there in a heartbeat.
When we're talking about affordable housing, I'm sure you read Pam Post's report. And the housing turnover, my statistics are right. The average time on the market last month was 6 days.
Right, right.
And they sold for, I think, 16 or 18% on average more than the listing price. And you know that the realtors optimistically price these things. So there ain't no such thing as affordable housing in Dago right now.
And it's not, I think, we also have to remember too, not everybody wants to own a house.
This is true.
Right.
And affordable housing includes rental.
And that's what we have to remember. I mean, some people don't care if they own their house.
Well, this Friday at our affordable housing meeting, we have Ryan Wallace talking, who is the owner of the solar factory
Yes.
in Geneva. And he is now building a solar rental property in Geneva on Carter Street. I'm interested in hearing about that because he does say it's an affordable rental.
We'll see what affordable is.
Yeah, and affordable in Geneva is different than affordable here.
Making something affordable may rely on subsidies of some sort.
Exactly. The interesting thing about this project in Uptown is there are communities in western Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona that are using that same type of format, where they have manufactured housing, and they're typically trailers that are set on slabs. And but they sell the piece of property with it, so it required zoning changes. That's how I found these articles. It required zoning changes to allow for smaller lot size for these homes. Those were part of affordable housing in those communities, because believe me, you can buy a trailer for a lot less than you can buy a house. The critical factor in trailers is they're set on blocks or posts, whereas a house is set on a slab. And this one community, they just set aside a plot of land, and the lots are small, maybe 100 by 100, maybe just really small lots. Set these trailers on slabs, and voila, they had an affordable housing community. And that's what I think they were aiming to emulate on this Uptown project, because it is a community what they're talking about. They're having sidewalks, accessibility to parks, pocket parks. That's the first time I've ever heard that expression in Canandaigua, other than my emails to Doug and Mark about thinking of pocket parks. And they have a pocket park in the Factory 243. So they're thinking of a community. The Factory 243 is a community. It's going to have a restaurant, a pocket park, office space, all the things you need in the community. So I support what they're doing in the Uptown area. It's not affordable, bottom line.
Well, with the pocket parks, they're gonna be responsible for taking care of them too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, right.
Well, again, it's not unlike common areas.
Well, I've suggested this for Ononda Park, putting in a pocket park down near the lake where people could come and there'd be tables where they could play board games, or they even have these chess and checkers tables with it printed on there. There'd be benches for sitting and congregating. Just and there would be sidewalks, paved paths around it for people to, if they just want to pace, they can do that. I think it would be an addition to our park system that might be invited by people, and it was just part of trying to get the parks used more. But pocket parks, yeah, that's a whole new idea. I like it. Anyway, that's it.
Now, one time you talked, Karen, you talked about affordable housing, that you're gonna be involved with the county and the city and things like that. Is that still your objective?
I've already, we have, Friday, we have Mike Manikowski and Ryan Wallace speaking at our meeting. I've talked with the Ontario County Economic Development Board, and we're looking at doing a resolution at our next meeting next month. I've been invited to talk to the IDA because part of the IDA's charter is an affordable housing element. So I can't speak, I can't go to their next meeting. I have a conflict. I've asked Matt Horn if he can go and bring it up to them, because they are willing to also support it via resolution. I've been invited by 2 other town supervisors, not Kathy, to speak at the Board of Supervisors about affordable housing. And I just have to fit it into my schedule. I've been in contact with an interesting program called Alice. And Alice, have you heard of it? Yeah. It's not just Rochester area.
No, it's
entire New York State,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
the whole
also,
state.
I think it's in 15 states now. It's really an
It's a
interesting,
cool.
and that is the market we want. We
Yeah.
want people who are employed and underpaid or have limited asset. I can't remember. Alice stands for something. I can't remember all of it. And I've also been in touch with the Ontario County Commissioner of Social Services. I think that's, yes, I don't know. I spend a day a week researching. And maybe I can have that day back.
The key is finding the answers. That's the toughest part.
Well,
We got all kinds of information. We know where we're going,
right.
but getting the solution.
We need the answers for
Yeah.
our people, our communities. That's what it is. Every community is different. And right now, we're in an information gathering mode.
Recently, I read, it was something like 1/3 of the working people under a certain age changed jobs in the last year and a half. So those people, maybe half them moved. So those are not going to be homeowners. Those are the people still in their growing, earning years, who are going easily, segueing from job to job, which may be in a different community. So they're not ever going to be for another 10 years thinking about owning a house forever. I think young wage earners are much more transient, I guess, or they accept the fact they're not going to work for Kodak for their life, or like the old days. Yeah. So there are a lot more mobile young families, and the odds of them having the downstroke to qualify for mortgages
That's right.
more remote. So
I mean,
somehow we got to concentrate on more rentals that are in affordable range, whatever that is.
And I agree. I look around our city and town, Big Lots Plaza. Look at the empty space there. You know what you could do with that? I have seen plans for taking for example, the old, where Runnings is now, whatever that store was originally. taking a
Walmart, it was Walmart.
It was Walmart, but I'm thinking way back.
It was Nichols.
Nichols,
Yeah.
yeah,
yes,
right.
that's right.
Nichols and PNC back there. Taking a,
PNC was over there?
there was a PNC.
I
there.
thought PNC was on the other side
I don't know.
where Peoples was.
I thought Nichols was where Big Lots is.
This is when we first moved here, that was Nichols and PNC. Okay, so I've seen plans and I think it was in Southern California where they take a space like that. They have a center like street and they have 350 square foot apartments along either side. And they sell for an affordable, they rent for an affordable price. You know,
Well, that's a great location because people can walk.
walk. Exactly.
Absolutely.
You
What
know,
they need.
the Parkway Plaza has the same thing. Most of Parkway Plaza is empty. It's, somebody's gotta start thinking outside of the box in these things
Well, the
instead
guys that
of
own
having.
the guys that own the plazas gotta be looking for revenue. They got a lot of
Exactly.
empty spaces.
Look at Ponderosa along that street.
That thing needs to come.
Good level that one.
But I mean, think of it, they have the parking available, they have the walking capability, I mean, there's little restaurants there, well, you know, there's fast food, but nonetheless, it's, you don't have to live in a 4,500 square foot house. You don't have to. And my sister lives in 342 square feet in a mother-in-law house. She's fine. Single people to a married couple, young couple, they can live in that and they can live comfortably in that.
What's this room?
Probably about that size. I just
Right?
count the ceiling tile.
And I'll tell you, in China, there are apartments this size where I have 3 generations living in them.
It's amazing.
I've been in homes in Nicaragua that were half the size of this room, and of course their kitchens are outside, contain the living area and 2 bedrooms. I mean, because you fill in what you need. You know, my house is full of stuff. Stuff I don't need.
We all got too much stuff.
But the first house I lived in, that we lived in Henrietta, was 900 square feet. I raised 3 kids in that house.
The police, and I come out of the loop. In fact, I didn't know about Friday's meeting. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be on the road. What's being proposed for Uptown? Are they precast?
They're, they
Prefabs
call
or what?
them, what do they call them? Prefab,
Yeah.
prefabricated.
Prefab, so they're framed?
I
I would
guess.
imagine, that's that was my.
What happened to Del Creek? Remember Del Monte,
Oh,
Del
right,
Creek
right.
was
He was using that to build his hotel.
modularizing hotels
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
apartments.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that dream?
I
That
don't know.
sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, I think a lot of those properties are still standing. I know the college is renting the property out in Henrietta, which I think was the first hotel he built, Marriott out there.
That's been around for
Yeah,
15 or 20, years. Right?
Yeah.
But why hasn't that taken off?
I don't know. It was amazing to see it go
Sounded
up.
like a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, it had lamp posts and everything, you know, just going, yeah.
So oil's kind of good cost. Somehow.
Yeah, remember that.
Karen, is somebody gonna send out a reminder about Friday?
I think we sent it yesterday.
Did you?
Something came.
Yeah, I got one.
Something came through about Friday,
one went out
the other day, yesterday.
Only thing I saw, Parks Committee canceled. I didn't see anything about affordable housing.
No,
I don't remember that either. Maybe.
I
I
got it.
don't remember it.
I didn't look to see who was on the,
Yeah, affordable housing.
you got it?
I'll check to make sure you're on.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I had
I'm
one.
on the road. Right, so.
What I found that was interesting was an article, I should have read it more carefully, that some of these communities now are offering money for you to pay to move to their community.
Yes.
I see
Well,
that
it's
a
funny
lot.
that- And they're doing that, I won't say in lieu of tax subsidies, but I think they're looking at the difference you know, what it would really mean. I think it's a great idea. You know,
We can't solve the troubles of the world today.
no,
Maybe we can solve the
But we
sign issue.
Create more
the
questions.
side issue tomorrow.
All right, there's always more questions, right? Well, it's 10 o'clock and I know people have places to go, but I did just want to say, September 7th is our next meeting.
Good.
Sorry. I'll just say real quick. And then, we're supposed to talk about, conservation easements, and if we've got time, we'll touch on some of the other programs like DDR and TDR, our favorite topic. And then, maybe touch a little bit on the ag overlay district that the ag committee has been talking about. And I'll see if I've got anything to send out ahead of time. Some of this, we don't really have a whole lot of documentation for, it's just a conversation, but I may have a couple things I can send out.
And when are we doing the strategic plan?
Is September 22nd?
22nd,
27?
But there wasn't a time on that.
Yes.
we have the notice ready to go. I just want Doug to take a look at it.
Oh, okay.
and then we'll set the time.
Yeah, we had it, actually, we said it, and then one of the see that. Right,
We looked at it.
Did Mark
It's gonna probably be,
yeah,
Is Mark
we
on
talked
the list
about
for
five.
strategic plan?
yes, I think I sent it to like 100 people. And I actually sent a meeting invite too, because I think sometimes we get a little bit better response when I do that.
I've only got,
I'll check with you, there's the people who have accepted the invite.
Yeah,
and we can see what,
yeah.
how many there are.
John.
Okay, that's all I have, but I know Karen, you had a question or something.
No, that was about strategic.
Okay, okay. Chakra Oksana, did you guys have anything else?
No,
I'm good. I'm
Okay,
good.
thank you.
You're gonna be able to-
Yeah.
See you.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.